So I'm going to tell you a little bit about Bellevue and the exciting exploration discovery that we've recently had over the last 12 months and growing the resource to over 2 million ounces of gold at a very, very high grade of over 11 grams per tonne. And 2020 is going to be an exciting year ahead for us as we now continue to grow the resource, and you'll see resource growth coming out very, very soon, and as we move it towards development and ultimately into production as well. So exciting time ahead for us. The normal disclaimers to read in your own time, and these are on the ASX platform. So as I said, it's an exciting discovery for us. We've literally drilled our first holes onto this project only 2 years ago. We've now grown it to be over 2 million ounces of gold at 11.3 grams per tonne. The resources have grown consistently, and we expect them to continue growing at the same rate of knots as well. The resource is open very much to the north and to the south. It's open at depth as well, and we've recently had a new discovery called the Deacon Lode, which sits in the footwall of the original discovery as well. And this is very much open north-south, up dip and along strike as well. So exciting times as we continue to grow the resource. We currently have 4 drill rigs on site at the moment, so plenty of news flow. You're going to be seeing an updated resource coming out this quarter as we move towards the middle of the year, and that will be including our indicated category for the first time. So the resource not only growing in size over the last 2 years, but also now growing in confidence as we move it towards the next stage of development. And in the background, we have a very large land holding. There's 3,500 square kilometres of tenure here, of which we've really only explored a very, very small portion of this. And 2020 will be the year that we start stepping out and looking at some of these new areas to the north and around the old workings as well. And we certainly have a strong cash position for us to be able to do that with over $30 million in the bank at the moment, and certainly a clear path and a clear runway forward all the way through 2020 and into 21 for next year as we continue to grow and de-risk the project, moving it to the next stage. So there's certainly some real standout things for our project, of which we certainly have had this consistent resource growth, and as I said, you'll expect to see that continuing to grow, and with the 4 drill rigs that we have on site, there'll certainly be infilling and increasing the resources. The grade is certainly a real standout for us as well. One of the highest grade ore bodies in Australia at the moment, and if not one of the highest grade ore bodies globally as well. We're very fortunate on this project as well in the fact that we have a very high success rate of downhole EM conductors that correlate to very high grade gold. So what we do is downhole EM testing, and every time we have an EM conductor we have pretty much 100% correlation with high grade gold. So this has enabled us to have very cheap discovery costs of around about $15 Australian an ounce, which is certainly one of the lowest in the industry, and we certainly have a number of EM targets that sit outside of resources that you will see us continuing to step out and drill, of which gives us high confidence that the resources will continue to grow at the same sort of grade and rate of knots as well. And also one of the real standouts for the property as well is that we have this 28 kilometres of underground development sitting there from surface down to about 400 metres depth that we're currently dewatering as we speak, and I believe we're down to about almost 200 metres below surface at the moment, and this will be the platform for us to be able to drill from underground. And so again, second half of this year you'll be seeing announcements coming out on that as we move our drill rigs from surface to underground, and we continue to step out and add further ounces. And we are blessed as well with the metallurgy. It's very good metallurgical recoveries that we have on this property with a high portion of gravity gold. And as I said, certainly cashed up with well over $30 million in the bank to see us through for 2020 and into 21 as we continue with discoveries and resource growth. We continue to move towards development, and you'll be seeing economic studies coming out in the second half of this year, and as we move ultimately into production, we should see some news flow on that in the second half of this year as well. One of the other real standouts on this property as well is that it's an Archean low gold system, and I'm sure many of you are familiar with Archean low gold systems and the size of these. We're very fortunate that these deposits typically go for a very, very long period of time, decades in fact. And on the slide you can see a number of examples that are pretty much around where we're located. And one of the real key things to take away on this slide is that we really are just scratching on the surface and targeting down pretty much in the top 500 metres from surface. So very much open at depth. You'll see that resource growing in that top 500 metres as well, and very much as we get underground and start drilling deeper, you'll see that resource growing as well, and we expect to see it move towards some of these other big deposits that are in the region, in the Goldfields region of Western Australia. A quick snapshot of the company. So we're ASX 300. We've got 682 million shares on issue, and as I said, the cash balance is well above $30 million. We have a very, very strong institutional shareholder base as well. That shareholder base is split up with about half from North America and Europe and half from in Australia, and I've listed out there some of the stronger, larger global institutions that are on our register as well. Staff and board and management own a chunk of the company, and we see that as very important. We encourage our staff and management and board to own shares and to support the company. And of course, the share price graph has been very good over the last 2 years, and we expect that to continue in an upwards trend as well. And that's going to be based on the fact of further discoveries, and as we move the project into development and ultimately production as well. And we've been very good at what we've done in the fact of discovering ounces to date. You can see on this slide, it's very much consistent resource growth. Your drill rigs on the ground. The last quarter we had 8 drill rigs turning. We're now finished on our maiden indicated drill program, and you'll be seeing our maiden indicated category coming out very, very soon. And one of the fortunate things that we've been doing as well with the geology is very much using diamond drill core. This gives you a very high confidence level on the geology and the understanding of what's going on with the ore bodies. And so you can see here that we have, moving up to 150,000 metres of drilling undertaken since we took on the property less than 2 years ago. And we expect to be doing another 150,000 metres this year as well as we move it to the next stage and as we increase those resources as well. Today we announced that 2 more board members have come on board. We're very happy to have Fiona Robertson and Shannon Coates join us, both independent, non-executive directors. And as I said, as we're moving towards the next stage of into development in ASX 300, it brings a strong new skill set to the board. It also brings a strong corporate governance for us as well, and of course independence as well, as you see us moving the project to the next level. We have a great executive management team as well that you've been seeing that's been building over the last few months as well. We've recently been joined by Luke Gleeson, who's Head of Corporate Development for us, who's come across from Northern Star, and we're over the moon to have him join us. We also have Craig Jones, our Chief Operating Officer, who came across in December of last year, and he's the man who'll be taking the project through to development and ultimately production for us. Sam Brooks, our exploration manager, has been with us since the start and has been instrumental in the discoveries to date to the 2.2 million ounces, and you'll see that continuing to grow under Sam's leadership. And we're also over the moon to have Deanna join us as well as Head of Human Resources and also promotion and company culture. And this is, of course, important as we move towards the next stage of development and ultimately production as we build that team with the people that we need for the next 12 months. So we're in a fantastic location here in Western Australia. We're surrounded by giant gold mines, all within about 150 kilometres of us, so we know it's a very high gold producing region. We're very fortunate in the fact that we have granted mining licenses, which enables us to get up and running very, very quickly, and we're also very fortunate that we have a whole bunch of infrastructure on our property and near us as well, with large towns and mining companies nearby. So very, very a good step ahead to get the project to the next stage. One of the real key standouts for our property is this 28 kilometres of underground development that we have sitting there from when the mine historically produced 800,000 ounces of gold at a fairly impressive 15 grams per tonne. Our resources sit all outside and around that area, and so we currently see this as a major opportunity for us to get underground, to move us towards that production. The ore bodies sit within only metres of that development, and so this really is something that can push us very quickly forward into the next stage for us and enable us to do it in a very cost-effective way as well. So watch this space for news flow out on that in the next few weeks, and certainly a lot of news flow on that we expect for the second half of the year as we move it to the next stage. The geology, as I mentioned, it's a classic Archean lode gold system, typical of most of the styles that you see here in Western Australia. It's multiple lodes, which we're very fortunate to have, multiple phases of gold mineralising events as well. Typically you have steeper mineralisation with cross-cutting the flatter lodes as well, such as the Viago lode, which has some very, very high grade, and also the Deacon lode, which is our new discovery, which we're very excited about, and you'll see that continuing to grow over the next 6 to 12 months as well. And one of the interesting things on this slide to take away, it's a cross-section looking through the ore bodies. They stick out from surface, so you will be seeing, once the economic studies are well and truly underway, you'll see us announcing about how we expect to see high-grade open pittable material before we go underground. And the other thing to take away on this slide is that a large portion of this area marked up in the dark brown colour has never been drilled. So a huge area that has never had a drill hole into it, and the areas that we have drilled have so far found 2.2 million ounces of gold. And looking in long section now at the deposit, you can see the various lodes that we have, as I said, sticking out from surface and drilled down to only about 500 metres below surface and very much open north, south, and the footwall and hanging wall. Our most recent discovery was the Deacon lode, which sits in the footwall of the Bellevue lode. We've currently only drilled that over 900 metres of strike. And so far 400,000 ounces of gold at 12 grams per tonne in that, and you'll see us continuing to step out on that and growing that as we drill it up dip and to the north and to the south. The focus since December of last year, December quarter last year, through to only a few weeks ago with the 8 diamond drill rigs that we had on site, was very much infill drilling. So we've taken the inferred resource category down now to 40 by 40 metre drill pattern and 40 by 20 metre drill pattern, and you can see that marked up in red on this slide, this long section through the deposits. And so the maiden indicated resource will be coming out on those areas, all drilled with diamond drill core, very high confidence level. And then the areas marked up in yellow will be where the second resource for indicated category will be coming out later in the year. And as I said, the resource is very much open, so it's not just about moving it into the indicated category and moving into development. This is one of the exciting exploration discoveries that's happening for gold in Australia at the moment, and so we're certainly keen to keep those drill rigs turning as we step out both north, south, and in the footwall and hanging wall. And we have a number of downhole EM conductors that we see as very high priority targets that we're going to be drilling over the coming weeks and months. And this really is what I've just been speaking about for the last 10 minutes is very much only a very small portion of our overall land package. So everything that I've spoken about to date, that 2.2 million ounces of gold, sits in the little red oval at the bottom of this air photograph that you can see here. We have 20 kilometres of strike potential on the property, where the Bellevue Shear continues on to the north. We currently have people on the ground at the moment doing soil sampling, geophysical testing, EM surface sampling, and we currently have a drill rig on site up on one of the regional targets as well. So we're hoping to bring out some good news on that over the next few weeks and few months as we look to find the next Bellevue deposit as we step along that strike of 20 kilometres to the north. So it really has been an exciting couple of years for us since we drilled that very first drill hole in Christmas 2017 and started drilling in earnest in January 2018. This year we've ticked the box of getting us ready for the indicated category that'll be coming out, as I said, this quarter that we're in right now, towards the middle of the year. You'll see us continuing with the 4 drill rigs on site as well, and those 4 drill rigs are very much stepping out as well as infilling as well. You'll see that then come into how the dewatering is going. You'll see us moving to the drill rigs to being underground and moving us towards development and economic studies in the second half of this year. So an exciting time ahead for Bellevue Gold.